This is something I feel like sharing with you guys that I usually don't talk about. That has to do with my family, right? So yesterday I was on a little trip to deal with the whole, bank institution thing. So I had to go to Navy Federal. And while I was doing that, my mom and dad chose to go with me. So I was like, okay, cool. We all went. And as we're going to make small talk, me and my dad start talking about politics. Now, my mom knows me and my dad know me for being the more rebellious child. I'm the youngest, that's just my whole shits. And my mom asked me, because I said something about, or my dad said something about, don't post political stuff online. Like, it can cause so much problems and things like that. And I agreed to an extent. But what I told him was, I said, I don't post what I post because I'm trying to be some kind of fucking leader, or I'm trying to get some kind of like clout or some shit off of it. I said, I genuinely am concerned about these topics that I speak about. And I said, I don't wish anybody harm. I don't wish any rebellion of any sort. I said, I don't wish any terroristic I don't want harm to be done to anybody. And that's how I put it. I said, but in order for people to understand what is going on and to deeply connect with what I'm saying, I said, I have to say it on the internet in a way that I can say it where I can access multiple people. I said, if that's a risk I have to take, I said, that's a risk I'm willing to take. I said, for the greater of humanity. I said, I don't see the whole, let's just sit here and lay on our, and he was saying like, stop being dumb. It's not your place to say that shit. And you don't need to be the hero and all that. I said, I understand that. I get that. But I said, this ideology of like people sitting on their knees and just waiting to get fucking executed and waiting for all these war crimes and other things to happen. I said, who the fuck is going to step up? And I said, I'm not trying to be some kind of, he said, why don't you run for a politician or something? I said, I don't want all that attention. I said, I'm not in it for the attention. I'm just in it to get my point across to multiple people. Like I said, I don't want harm being done. I know a few of the topics I talk about sound like that. I'm not pointing out not one single specific group. I just think what we are allowing to happen all around the world, not even just the United States. Obviously, I'm a US citizen, so I speak about the United States. Everything that's happening all around the world, I find it disgusting that we are willing to do these kind of crimes against one another. Like, and I keep saying this, and I'm always going to keep saying this. We are all going through the same shit. We are all having the same problems. We are all being sick the same way. We're all getting fucking old. We're all hungry. We're all money deprived. We all have no housing. What the fuck is the difference between me and you? And like I said to him, I said, the people that are scared to speak are the reason that this society has crashed the way it fucking has. I said, back in the day, this shit would have never fucking flew. I said, let's think of something really recent that happened about 30 so years ago. I said, the fucking civil rights movements and shit was going on. I said, all other kinds of movements and all these other things. I said, our fucking ancestors before that would have not let some shit like this fly. Corrupt government? What the fuck? You know what would have happened in day 2? A fucking rebellion. I said, it's not that I want something like that. I said, it genuinely fucking bothers me that my own parents are able to tell me to my fucking face, instead of saying, you know what, son, do what you need to do. I agree. I 100% support what you're saying. They would rather silence me. And they frame it as if they're scared for my safety or whatnot. I know that's not what it is. I mean, to an extent it is. But at the same time, you're living in a society that you don't like. I don't like. She doesn't like. What the fuck? Why are we not talking about it? You're scared to speak about it, and I understand that. I get that. So who the fuck is going to speak about it? And that's the fucking problem. I told him, I said, so you're willing to die on your knees, and I used the hard R in this case. I said, you're willing to die on your knees like a good slave than to fight against what's right and die, or have a risk of dying or staying alive? I said, you would rather just die straight up. I said, because it's going to eventually happen. It's going to get to a point of where, like, there will be no more rights. There will be no more chance to speak up. It's just gonna fucking happen. You're gonna have to take that shit. I said, there will no more be no time for fucking unity and all that shit. We're all gonna be back on the fucking fields, just like your mommy and your dad used to be, back when they had to fucking fight, and they were laying in blankets that were infested with diseases and insects, eating fucking slop. I said, are you gonna wait for that, or are you gonna wait to be mercy killed? I said, what the fuck what are we waiting on? I said, me personally, I would rather speak the truth and die that way than to be straight up executed regardless for no fucking reason and get picked up off the side of the street and never see my family again just because I'm black or just because I said something. You see what I mean? So, like I said, to get back to the original point of the whole thing, my mom said, why are you so rebellious? She said, why are you always so rebellious? Why are you always... And you know what I told her? I said, it's not that I hate authority, and I've said this before. I think this was about 2 years ago when I said this on a video on my Instagram that made me first blow up. I said, it's not that I'm rebellious. I just hate the authority that believes that they're better than everybody else because they have that authority. I said, that's what I'm seeing in modern day times. I said, we have authority all around the globe that believe they're better than the people that they serve. They are representation of our people. Like I said, I don't know shit about politics. This is just what I've seen in the past fucking month or two. These people serve us, and yet we allow it to seem like we serve them or we owe them, and it makes no fucking sense to me. Why is that? You fucking tell me, man. I find it disgusting. Like I said, why am I so rebellious? If it has to come to that point, it's because it is. Because I'm fighting for my fucking life. And I'm willing to fucking do that. When did we allow this shit to get to the point of where somebody else can dictate what the fuck your life is? We're all unique in our own way. What the fuck happened to... We all have our own unique beings and our own personalities, and we can do whatever we want. We can go hop, skip, and fucking jump in Walmart if we want to. I can strip butt fucking naked right now. We have free fucking will, and yet we act like we're slaves already. And we let them take our rights. Why? What the fuck? And not a single fucking TikToking, scrolling, Instagram clanker fucking liking ass or sees anything wrong with this shit. Not one fucking thing. And you're not going to care until the day they come knocking on your door and they take your entire family from you. And then they kill your father. And if you're a son, they kill you too. What more do we want? What more indication do we need for us to say, you know what, bro? Let's start talking to our neighbors. Let's start building community. Let's ally. Let's talk. Let's actually try to fucking talk. And let's actually try to come together as a people. There's genuinely too much division. And it makes me quite confused that everybody has these problems, Everybody wants a solution, and we look towards our representation to do such. And when they don't do it, we say, you know what, maybe better luck next quarter. Better luck next year, the year after next, the next quarter year. It's fucking crazy to me, man. So yeah, Mom, if you're watching this video, my answer to why am I so rebellious, it's because I'm willing to fight for my own life, unlike you, and your friends, and your family, and everybody else we know. Because I'm willing to die for this shit. Because if I'm gonna die, I want to die on my own terms, not because somebody took it from me. That's the answer. Peace.